Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's episode of Hey Sister. Hey Sister, how you doing?
Hey, sister, I'm doing well. How
Okay.
are you and the family considering that you're waiting on a hurricane?
It is it kind of is what it is. I don't think people who don't live in these situations understand that there is so much waiting and things outside of your control, right? So we are here. Hey, Jody, thank you for watching tonight. And yes, you can fill up your water bottles that you already have in your house, people. You do not have to go buy all the bottles of water in the store. Like, let's use some logic. Everybody has. Show me your cup, sister. I have my 32-ounce one here. You got one there. Y'all get water bottles everywhere. You can fill those up. You can actually go ahead and put them in the freezer, and then if the electricity goes out, it will defrost, and you still have water. So I saw Jody posted posted that earlier today. It's so very interesting. But when you live in we grew up in southern Louisiana, here in Florida, it's a lot of watching and waiting. So we got the call from the school system today. So their schools are still not they're gonna make a decision tomorrow.
Mhm.
So they do kind of put people in a situation where if you're going to make a move, it is last minute and you have to be so prepared in advance to then be able to make that move. And we've experienced that before. You experienced that before. And so, we are prepared what we can prepare here in our home, and we are in that wait and see kind of mode. So wait and
Okay.
see. But I'm sure the people in Canada was not expecting Fiona to come all the way through the Caribbean and up to Nova Scotia. So there's a young lady who I have a relationship with. We attended a training years ago together. We still keep in touch, and I reached out to her, and they're doing well in Nova Scotia.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well, prayers for them and everyone that Hurricane Fiona has touched and impacted in some way, shape, or form.
Absolutely. So we're up for the next one. We'll see what happens. So if you are tuning in live, we ask that you like, follow, share, subscribe. If you are not tuning in live and you're watching this in a replay, or if you're catching this on your favorite podcasting platform, welcome to Hey Sister. Tonight, we're going to be talking about It's a Cold, Cold World. And we want you to join the conversation in the comments. That's where all the action happens in the comments. We want you to be a part of our discussion this evening. Now, you're asking how we're doing over here with the pending weather event with the hurricane. How are you doing over there on the still hot Arizona?
I am doing fine. You know why? Because it's not 100 plus every day. It's now just in the high 90s. So it feels so much better. It's no, you can tell at least at night, like because normally people with the whole, you know, dry heat kill me because dry heat is an oven and it's still hot. I mean, it cooks your food. So what do you think it does to your body? So yeah, I'm feeling better because at least now I can sit outside in the evening. We couldn't do that before. Like you go outside to go walk at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, and it's still over 100 degrees. So that wasn't fun. When you start off in the morning at 6 in the morning and it's 89 degrees, that isn't fun either. So at least now we're getting to the part of the year where we get at least a breeze when we sit outside and we can do a little bit more that way.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're able to get outside and enjoy that breeze.
Yes.
And speaking of breezes, and I'm gonna drop a link to the lyrics of the song. Tonight we titled the show "It's a Cold, Cold World," and I would be, with all the things that have been going on in the news, it reminded me of the lyrics of this song by Teddy Pendergrass. And he said, don't let this cold world get you down. Okay. And if you have been watching the news, or if you have just been experiencing trials, or that relationships are kind of funny and people kind of acting strange for some change, or anything out there like that, tonight we got a topic for you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to talk about, this cold world. So where you want to start, sister? We got a lot of things to start from. Where you want to start?
Yeah, no, just pick, because it's a
It's a
lot.
cold world.
Yes.
So first story, and I'm going to ask you to pull up the video. So my sister just told me about this today, y'all. I hadn't even seen this story, but as she said, who parks on the train tracks? Have y'all seen this story?
All right, one second here.
She's going to pull up the video. I'm going to drop a link in the comments for you. So this is in Colorado, right? Yes, it's in Colorado. And so police are apprehending this young woman who they pulled over, and they parked the vehicle on the rail tracks. And of course, that's never a good idea. Go ahead and play.
Baffling. Platteville police officers leave 20-year-old Yorini Rios Gonzalez inside an officer's vehicle parked in the middle of train tracks.
And in the new body camera video released to Denver 7, you can see an officer react to hearing horns from the train while Rios Gonzalez is still restrained inside. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 6. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Jessica Porter. Denver 7's Bayan Wang spoke with Rios Gonzalez's lawyer and joins us live in our newsroom.
And Bayan, it's truly amazing that Rios Gonzalez was not killed after being hit by that train.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. She's incredibly lucky to be alive right now. I think anybody who watches that video would assume anyone inside that car would be killed. And that's frankly exactly why we've been asking authorities why that police cruiser was on the tracks in the first place. We haven't gotten any responses except for this video to draw from.
It's the frantic moment officers noticed what was about to occur. A freight train colliding into a Platteville police cruiser parked on train tracks along Highway 85 and County Road 36.
You can go ahead and stop it, sister. That's enough.
Yeah, I was thinking we would get to the part where they talk about how they hear the horn.
Oh, we heard. Yeah.
They're still talking. The horn is getting closer. They're still talking. You've managed to arrest this woman and put her in the back seat of the police cruiser. And y'all are just having casual conversations while you're searching her car. Now, again, the first thing that's egregious to me is that she's pulled over for this supposed road rage incident. Sometimes I'm just baffled by police officers who don't understand when you get pulled over for something and you ask a question like, hey, what did I do? Because sometimes you don't know. And if someone called in a road rage incident, then I'm sure she didn't call on herself. It wasn't like she was speeding. So she literally probably didn't know why they had pulled her over. And for you to just handcuff her, check her pockets, put her in the back of this cruiser, and you hear the horn.
But first of all, as you said,
yes,
who parks on the train tracks?
Like that's
like what we learned in kindergarten.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. It's not even. I can't even say in driving class because it wasn't even driving class. It was legitimately like. What was it? Safety Town at W.S. LaFarge.
Come on, Safety Town. Girl, do they still have Safety Town?
No, clearly they don't because they parked on damn tracks.
Oh, man. So Jody was like, so they left her in the car. Yes. They had handcuffed her, put her in the back. We're having full-on conversation, left her in the car. And then you see them like, oh, let me just walk away. And this person's car. Jackie says they need to be put under the jail, 10 feet under. But God is right, because that young woman she is alive. She has very severe injuries. And all we can do is pray for her healing, but it is going to be a long, tough, those bones healing. And a mind is certainly a terrible thing to waste. Absolutely.
Yes, pray for her healing. However, I'm also going to pray for her family to get she and her family to get a very large settlement. I mean, like egregiously large, because that makes no sense to me. In absolutely no scenario.
And at night.
In the dark. Absolutely no scenario.
A 20-year-old you pull. Oh, come on. It's just so many layers.
Right. But again, absolutely not one scenario that you can think of in your life where you purposely park on the tracks of the train tracks.
Yes. Well, you guys, we dropped the link in the comments. You can go read more about the story, watch the video, follow it along all the way. But as we said, it's a cold, cold world. Yeah. Next up, in the words of good old Johnny Taylor, if you ever listen to the blues, or your mom or your grandmother listened to the blues, you probably have heard this line from this song. It's cheaper to keep her. Well, one Mr. Rudolph Giuliani is finding that out right now. He has 2 weeks. I'm going to drop the link in the comments. He has 2 weeks to pay not his first, not his second, but his third ex-wife $225,000 or face jail time. Not because of his complicity in trying to overthrow democracy, but it's cheaper to keep her. Sister, what you think about this?
Well, number one, he needs call Donald. I'm sure he has it. Second, yeah, it's really disgusting to me that this is what's going to land him in jail. I feel like there are so many other things. And this feels like
the practices as mayor that got all of these Black and brown people wrongfully incarcerated. No, not that.
No, not. Just not even being filmed on the Borat film about to try to sexually assault this young lady who he thought was 15 years old. None of that. But none of that. Hey, I guess whatever works. I'm just trying to see who's going to give him a loan, because clearly somebody's going to give him some money, I guess.
Child, I don't know if they're going to give him some money. I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know this. That is not the first. It is not the second, but it is the third ex-wife.
I wonder how much he pays per month in alimony.
I wonder why people keep marrying him.
Well, I mean, at one point they thought that it would be comeuppance, like they would benefit from marrying him.
You think so?
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, he didn't run for president of the United States too?
He did.
Yeah, and they probably thought after 9/11 he was the golden boy. They thought he was going to become somebody. They didn't know that somebody was a deranged old man.
I guess so. Well,
and that's why, as my friend Robert says, if you marry somebody for money, you're going to earn every penny of it.
Boom, boom, boom. You better drop that in the comments. That's a gem, honey. That's a emerald, a ruby or something.
Sure.
God, if you marry someone for money, you're going to earn every penny. Ooh, don't you? And if you marry someone who broke, you're going to earn every penny of that too. I'm just saying. I don't know what y'all think, but y'all are tuned in live to Hey Sister. It is Sunday, and you know if it's Sunday, we are gonna be live on this line here. And so we want you to again join the conversation in the comments. We know y'all got some thoughts and feelings about some of this stuff out here. Thank y'all for dropping those thumbs up and the likes. We appreciate you tuning in. And if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead, like this and share this with your community. Let them know that we're here live every Sunday. If you're watching this in the replay, or if you want to listen while you ride, you can find us on all your social media, not your podcasting platforms. We're on all of them: Apple, Google, Amazon, you name it. You can find Hey Sister. If you type in Hey Sister and you see some sisters that ain't like sisters, because you're going to see some of those, just type our name in there too, and then you're going to find us. I mean, I'm just saying, you know what I mean. You saw it, sister. Yeah, they got some sisters that ain't sisters. But that's a whole nother conversation for another day. In other more serious news, again, in this theme about a cold, cold world, there is, one Mr. Vladimir Putin has been escalating the fight within the war with Ukraine, and he is now planning to deploy reservists and institute a big draft. And Russians men are really attempting to flee the country. This is the first time, I think, since this conflict have started. Well, I won't say the first time that we've seen Russians really starting to protest, but we've seen more Russians actually protesting this aggression in Ukraine, and they are leaving the country in droves. Hundreds of people have been fleeing to the bordering countries, trying to escape because they don't want any parts of this war. And Ukraine has been gaining back territory. I don't know, sister. This has been disturbing since it started. It continues to be disturbing. And as we think about this cold, cold world where we don't even respect our shared humanity, and we are still trying to be imperialists and colonialists and all of the
Ists.
of the past. It's
Racists.
just racist, misogynist, like all the ists that we want, are trying to be. It's just really, really frustrating, and it's really, really sad and disappointing. But what do you think about all of the number of Russians who are actually starting to flee the country?
I get, what do I think of it? I mean, yeah, I think that it is important for them to do what they feel is the best in their best interest. But, when you have a system that's set up to basically destroy anyone who doesn't agree with the government or who speaks negatively against it, who protests, who attempts to exert any level, any sort of rights, your life could depend on it. I mean, I don't know how much what they really can do. I mean, granted, make every attempt to flee, but there's so much that comes along with that. And I just think, to your point, it's just ridiculous that we're still having this conversation in 2022 about countries trying to aggressively take over other countries. And for what? So we can, I don't know. It feels very, obviously I don't know all the history behind it, but it speaks volumes about why these men who rule, particularly white men who rule these countries, feel the need to try to destroy everything that they touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So. Yeah, it's very sad. And this past week the UN was in assembly, and whether it's this story about Russia, whether it's about the young woman in Iran who was killed in custody of the moral police because she didn't have her headscarf affixed properly.
She didn't have her hijab on.
Yeah. whatever. Well, she had it, but it wasn't on correctly. So for her to lose her life over that, it's mind-boggling. It's sad. It's scary that of what is happening in the world right now, because we think that we have come so far in terms of modernization and intellect, and we're often reminded how primitive we still are, right? Dr. Alana, who we've had on the show, friend to the show, when she talked about that primitive brain, like we are still, as a human race, still so very primitive, because it would only be primitive and primal behavior for people to do some of these things that we're even talking about today. Like you literally cannot be using your prefrontal cortex and your executive functioning part of your brain if you're going to park a car on the train track with someone in it and you're going to have a conversation outside, hear the horns, and don't do anything, right? You have to be primitive if you're going to, in the name of morality, kill a young woman in the name of being moral. Like, is that not, I don't know if it's oxymoronic or whatever it is. It's, to me, it's just crazy. Just like it's plain old crazy. So, and we have some more crazy stories for y'all tonight.
Well, and it has to be, you have to be pretty primitive to also think that it's okay to invade another country, a sovereign nation, invade that country. And then when they start to gain ground back, you think that your citizens, even though they don't believe in what you're doing in the first place, but they can't say anything, they can't do much about it. Right. And they're just supposed to say, okay, yeah, let me give my life to this cause that I don't even believe in.
Yeah, and I'm going to create these sham elections about these referendums, in order to justify and find a legal path to justify and to do all these actions. It's a cold, cold world.
It is indeed, indeed.
All right, so this one, another one. Story. I mean, cruel and unusual punishment.
Oh, sister, you kill unusual, girl. Let's change the spelling of that.
Oh, I missed the U, girl.
Yeah,
take that down, honey. let me take that down and edit that. You know, unusual. Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So this is a story that you shared about this this man who's in prison in Alabama. Mm-hmm. Again, we're not using only your primitive brain would allow for the treatment of another human being, regardless of their offense and regardless of them being in custody, to treat another human being like this. Tell us about this story.
Yeah, so I saw it first on Sean King's Instagram page, and then on DL Hewley's Instagram page. And the reason why it was so shocking is because there's this picture. The young man's name is Castillo Vaughn, and he is emaciated, and it's this image is so shocking. And so apparently his sister shared some images of him where he recently, I guess, had surgery on, I guess, so he's in jail or in prison for a robbery or a series of robberies. He apparently had been shot in one of those robberies, and so he had to have some sort of surgery to repair that damage. And so it seems like they released him immediately after said surgery back into general population in unsanitary conditions. And now they're saying that in a matter of less than a month, he's lost 75 pounds. And so it is it's a very hard image to look at, And I think the thing that just comes to my mind is, again, when did we, or how did we, not when, because it's been a long time, but how did we become people who think that just because someone is in prison serving time, they don't deserve basic humanity? Um, you know, I have issues with our prison system in general because clearly it's not working. I mean, the way we do prison in the United States is not creating less crime. It is
Right.
not rehabilitating people.
Correct.
But for someone to be to undergo surgery and
Mm-hmm.
allegedly, I'll say allegedly, because according to the Alabama Department of Corrections, he's received multiple. He's been treated, and he's received. He's gone back for multiple visits since this surgery. I don't know. You all can look at the picture for yourselves. Obviously, the family has hired Lee Merritt, the civil rights attorney, in terms of helping them in this situation to ensure that their loved one gets the type of proper health care and proper medical treatment. And here's the thing, last but not least, these prison systems make so much money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's why they keep the numbers up,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because these systems make so much money for the respective states.
The respective states, the local jurisdiction, most places where many of these prisons are in rural communities. It is usually the number one employer in that
yes.
community. So there's kind of like this sickness or this cycle of kind of like incestuous relationship within even the community that exists, because what do you do if your main employer goes away? What happens
Yeah.
to your town?
Yeah, exactly. What happens to it? So I think that so I just struggle with the way we do prison in the United States of America in general. But to think that a person who is, you know, it probably makes a penny a day, and then yet the state and, like you said, all the other entities make hundreds of thousands of dollars off of these inmates, and you don't even give that person proper treatment. It's like at some point, this criminal justice system, from parking on the railroad tracks to denying somebody proper health care, at some point we have to really fix this. No, we can't fix what this is. It's too far gone to fix it. We need to dismantle it, destroy it, and start again, because this is bad.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we dropped a link in the comments to the story if you want to investigate it more, take a closer and more hard look at what's happening, and then even ask yourself, there, for the grace of God go I. Like, what if I'm ever in one of these situations where, if someone I love or I care for is ever in one of these situations, whether it's rightly or wrongly convicted, right? Because we know people are wrongly convicted and in those systems and are treated inhumanely. Like, how would I want it to be? And think about that when you go to vote in November, in this midterm election, in the next general election, or the next on cycle election. Your local sheriffs, they matter.
Yeah.
Your local district attorneys, they matter. Your governors matter, because they generally, most prison wardens and what have you, are usually appointees by governors. So those positions where you put people in leadership roles who may not really be leaders, but they have authority and impact over people's lives, it matters big time.
Yeah.
Or in the word of a former president, bigly.
We don't want to talk about that guy.
Child, but we got to talk about this. Y'all, this one gonna hurt our heart. This one gonna hurt our heart.
Well, we might as well get it over with. Mystikal,
not one, not two, but this the third one.
I don't keep. Yes, it is. He went to jail for the first one. I think he got off on the second. He got off on the second one, and now he has pled not guilty to this one. But the story that just came out is allegedly that Mystikal required this young woman to pray with him or pray prior to him sexually assaulting her, and that supposedly he threw alcohol on her. That's supposedly like, and he was saying Hail Marys,
like
and
holy water.
Yeah. And then she said that he was high on a plethora of things, and then of course, his lawyer has denied that, saying that his client doesn't use drugs at all. So all I know.
So for the people out there who might be like, who are they talking about?
I said Mystikal.
But who is Mystikal, and why does this pain us so much?
Well, Mystikal became a pretty popular rap artist in the 90s and the 2000s. First with he was with Cash Money first, I think. Was he with? No, girl, don't give me the line on the record labels. But eventually, where most
with every record label in
pretty
in
much,
Louisiana,
yeah, pretty much. But I think with No Limits, a lot of people learned about who he was when he was with No Limit, and of course, Shake It Fast is one of the ones that.
Here I go.
Here I go. Yeah, that was mostly for those of us a little bit ahead of the Shake It Fast era and some other things I can't think right now because it is disturbing. It is so disturbing. Yeah, he did tell us. He did. I was thinking. Yeah. I was thinking, watch yourself for some other reasons, but not that. But
not the first, not the second, but the third time.
Well, I think the thing that is so interesting to me is that the details of each one are so very similar. So in this case, he accused a woman of supposedly stealing $100 from him. In his first case where he was actually convicted and served time, it had to do with money that he claimed someone stole from him. And it's just like, at this point, please just don't let anybody come to your house, sir. Because clearly everybody is stealing from you. And are you mad paranoid? Like, I don't even know what to say because it's so disturbing on so many levels. It's like you just got back free.
Just got back free. Just got back free. Oh my Lord.
I feel like Tyra Banks. I'm just like, we were rooting for you. We were rooting for you.
Oh
my gosh.
But sis, now okay, because we're gonna get into homecoming here in a little bit. But sis, doggone well that if we ain't listening to Robert Kelly, and you and me are not listening to Robert Kelly anymore, we can't listen to Mystikal either.
I know, and that's what's
damn, Mystikal. Don't have me do UNLV on you, Mystikal. Gosh.
That is the unfortunate piece, because like you said, Deion Sanders is playing it every weekend. Because that's his theme music. But I'm like, it can't be my theme. Here I go, the man right here. I can't.
Danger.
Yes. Well, he told us danger.
You ain't seen bouncing back. God.
Right.
Dang it.
It's just disturbing, right? You just are like, I mean, and this guy, like when I was on the yard at Southern University, For anybody who doesn't know, I attended Southern University. Like
Well,
I
we see it on your
remember.
shirt. It's okay. We see
Oh,
it on your
do
shirt.
you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay. Just making sure. Just remembering this fella being on coming on the campus, just performing for different events. Maybe not even an event, just there. It's like, gosh, now I'm so concerned about so much else.
We gotta mute him, dude. We gotta mute him. Just
I mean, yes, because we can't be hypocritical in this time. If we're saying that, if we're saying we can't separate the artist from the music when it comes to Robert Kelly, then we can't separate it with Mystikal. Now, if it should come back that all of this was made up too, and he is cleared and found not guilty, then we can have that conversation. We'll see what happens.
yeah. It keep coming back though. Oh man. And he's in national ads and commercials, his music and stuff. He just be like, oh man.
Well, he must not have the rights to them, because if you sweating $100, that means you clearly ain't getting royalty checks or something. Because I just don't even see. And that's it. Well,
Or
but
as
that's
you
the thing.
said, you're mad paranoid because you own
All the
them hell of a
drugs.
drugs.
Right. But that's the thing that, always reminding myself that, when you hear stuff like $100, it's like rape is never about whatever the thing is. It's not about what you wear. It's not about $100. It's about power. It's about control. It's about just really taking from people. And look, the man was a military veteran. He did serve, if I recall, in Desert Storm, I believe it was.
Yep.
So who knows what all else he got happening? I don't know. I'm not trying to make any excuses. I just know I can't not listen to R. Kelly and then still be around here bumping Mystikal. Although I want to, but I can't.
We can't do it. We just can't do it. We just can't do it. Well, speaking of, we're gonna transition into these homecoming 2022. And we're going to transition into it in a different way, because yesterday marked the 35th anniversary of A Different World.
This part is not the cold world. This is not a cold world.
This is
a
not
different
a cold world because we done been in the cold world. We got to switch it up and get some happiness and joy back in our lives. So this brings us joy. Cue up the video, sister.
Wait, what video? You told me you had it. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'll cue up the video. But the television show known as A Different World marked its 35th anniversary on yesterday. They did a whole marathon on TV One, and we have so much to say, but y'all just watch this little clip here about the reunion, and then we're gonna talk about it when we get on the other side.
Let's get busy!
A Different World is 35.
Can you believe this day has finally come?
Celebrate fond memories of an incredible cast.
Freddie, Whitley,
Ron Johnson,
and amazing guest stars. Plus, throughout the marathon, Kadeem Hardison
baby, please!
and Jasmine Guy
I do!
share secrets about the series. Don't miss the Different World 35th Anniversary Marathon. All day Saturday, September 24th on TV One.
Yes, and yes. I don't know how many of y'all were able to get into any of the reunion of A Different World, but I know I watched the interview that Jasmine Guy and Kadeem Hardison did with The Breakfast Club, which I thought was outstanding. I have seen some of their interviews before. Last year, she was on Tamara Hall's show, and that was more kind of promoting her role in the show Harlem, which is going to be coming back for a season 2 on Amazon Prime. I just really appreciate their candor, their honesty. And as you all know, earlier this year, we had Charnel Brown, who played the role of Kimberly Reese, on with us on Hey Sister. So you can go back in the YouTube archives and find that conversation as well if you're interested. But A Different World, for me, it really crossed in that time frame in which it was airing, brought me from high school into college. I always knew I wanted to go to an HBCU because I knew that as a young, smart Black woman, I was exceptional, but I wasn't an exception. And growing up in a town like I did, you did, we did in Thibodaux, Louisiana, where we were the one and only. So this whole thing about being one and only, first and only, started with us a long time ago in our educational matriculation. And I knew that there were brilliant Black people in this world, and I was going to go find them. I was on that quest, honey. And that's what landed me at Xavier University of Louisiana. And A Different World took me because from the birth of The Cosby Show and Denise Huxtable taking her journey from her home down to her parents' fictional college of Hillman College. It was right in the time frame of me transitioning from high school to college, and it meant everything. I love this show. Watched it every week religiously. And one of the things that warms my heart so much is that, fast forward 30 plus years later, my daughter started watching it. And we would watch it together, and she's watched all the seasons as well. And it just has meant so much. And I do want to say that both Charnel Brown and Daryl Bell, who played Ron, will be at the Xavier University homecoming this year. So you can go to xulahomecoming.com, and they will be the grand marshals of the homecoming parade and participating in some other activities. But as a part of this 35th year celebration of this seminal work of television that really is the reason many of us went to HBCUs. Y'all come on, join us down in New Orleans for homecoming, okay? But look, even Donald had to drop it in there. Yes,
I see that.
yes, and yes. Come on through, homecoming. So, sister, what about you? What are your remembrances of A Different World at 35?
Yeah, so love A Different World. As I said on my post earlier to my big sister Aya, I can't say that it's the reason I went to an HBCU. I mean, you're probably the reason I went to an HBCU, but I can say that every single episode resonated because, like, every single episode, all the things that happened to us at an HBCU. So one of the things I always think about, of course, the hurricane episode.
Yes.
And like, you went to school in New Orleans, I went to school in Baton Rouge. I mean, if you didn't have a hurricane or a major storm to deal with while you were at your HBCU, I don't know how. Mm-hmm. But the other episode that, I mean, everybody loves the wedding episode. I don't even have to talk about that. I mean, for years I cried every time I watched it. I think I could get through it now, but yeah, I would always cry because it just, as toxic as it was, and just listening to them on the Breakfast Club talk about how neither one of them really wanted to do this. It's like, stop playing with us. You wanted to do it because we wanted you to do it.
Right.
But the other episode that really resonated with me, and maybe this is a little damper, but I gotta be honest about this. Just a few weeks ago, my school played LSU, or the state institution in Baton Rouge, and the N-word episode is one that comes to mind, and I've been I was very public about the fact that I did not really care for that game. Being a money game is one thing, but it's about history for me. And sometimes when we like to forget history and we just want to do kumbaya, we're all unified, everything's great.
Let's have a unity band.
Let's have a unity Yeah,
unity dance.
dance, right. That is not my experience having attended an HBCU. My experience was being treated as if I was less than because I went to an HBCU and not the majority school across the way. And that less than came from both black and white people. And so that N-word episode very much resonated because that was like my biggest fear about my team playing this the state school, you know, because I was like, I Lord, I don't want anybody to drink too much and get a little bit more courage than they would normally have and say the wrong thing. And you shouldn't have to worry about those things. But the fact that that was an episode that was done in this show that it was so pivotal to so many of us. Like I said, it became more than just a show for so many people. It was the reason many people went to HBCUs, but also it was one of the first times where, you know, when Cosby Show came out, you know, there were so many people who were saying it was unrealistic because in their mind, there was never a doctor and a lawyer who were black who could be married to each other, which crazy, right? Because we went to HBCUs and we know people
and we see it every day,
all
like all the time.
Right. And so then to see these black students who were exceptional, who were smart, who were diverse, because that's the other part. There's always that storyline that because you go to HBCU and you're all black, then you're a monolith. It's absolutely not. There were wealthy kids whose families were, you know, they
generational,
generational wealth, just like there were kids from the roughest neighborhoods in their respective cities
to pay tuition, okay,
or might have had to go down to the valley and where the girls get naked.
Where the girls get naked,
you know. But you had all of those things, and to your point, I knew I wasn't exceptional, but I knew I wasn't an exception. And so having gone to Southern University, that was the first time in my life that I realized that you're not even that smart. And not in a bad way. Like it propelled me to want to do better because it was like, man, there are people like talk about like that Whitley doing that kick move, like talk about dancers, people who had been trained to dance. You know, I was in dance class. I wasn't trained though. You know, people who, like you said, that were so smart that they busted up the curve every time. So the teachers just was like, we just gonna throw you out because you're an anomaly.
Yes, honey.
You know, so yeah, so I love it. It was wonderful. I'm so happy that this show that became more than a show is 35 years old, and my prayer for the next generation, people like your daughter, is that they can see this show and see themselves in it, and they will continue the tradition of going to HBCUs, because we cannot let our HBCU tradition die. We cannot let people convince us that we need to go elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Southern University's homecoming is October 22nd is the game.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a second. Donald posted, Jaleesa had to work as a TA and was sick of Whitley and Denise at first. Yes, Ron Dad owned a car dealership. Dwayne was middle class.
Right.
The mamas came having to work in the pit for work study, going running the class, the date rape, HIV, the
apartheid when Kim thought she was pregnant and she wasn't, and
the Mammy episode, one of the most iconic episodes. Yes, I mean, so many things and storylines and themes.
And that's just the first generation. That ain't even when, you know, the Jada Pinkett's,
right,
not before Smith and all of them came.
Right, exactly. And that, you know, that was one of the things Kadeem said. I don't know if it might have been on the Breakfast Club interview, was like, really, the show should still be on the air. Like every 4 years, it should have been transitioning some new students in. But of course, the time they were ahead of their time. They, the one and only Debbie Allen, kind of innovated and took it to a next level. But certainly that show could still. I mean, if Grey's Anatomy have all these, that show still could have stood the test of time, honey, because it's better acting, better writing, better everything. So, what she said, do y'all want them to revisit a different world like Donald? Yes. Do you want us to revisit? I think this would be an interesting concept. I think NBC might, because NBC is losing the game right now. Okay.
NBC is not the one. Now I know that Fresh Prince is on Peacock, so it's owned by NBC.
See.
And I know they about to come out with the Best Man series and what have you. I don't I don't know why it's still on, girl. I mean, like I said,
Debbie revitalized that one too.
I still don't know why it's still on again. But let me not talk about them. I'm talking about a different world. So is the question, will we want them to revisit it as in not be a comedy, be a drama? Or are you just saying redo it with a new cast?
Reimagine it with a new cast.
But it still be a comedy. Like, which one are we talking about? Because I don't know that I would want it to be dramatized, because there was a lot of good drama in it as a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So
he said,
okay, well, that's I think Demetrius frozen. That's my thoughts. I definitely want to see a different world come back with a new generation of students at HBCUs, because think about it, even when I was at HBCU, there wasn't all this social media. I really don't know how these folks get to know each other. They have
social media. I mean, you have a whole Megan Thee Stallion graduated from an HBCU, and building a career and going to school. And yes, Grownish is not it. I love Grownish, but it is not it, because we know that there's something about our swag. There's something about our swag, and recently, and we didn't really dive into this story, but to me it's related to this. The young woman at USC formed a majorette team, and trying to.
You just gonna force me to talk about it.
I ain't gonna force you to talk about it. I'm a switch gears. Okay, homecoming 2022.
No, I mean, it's fine.
Come on, sister.
You can. The young woman at USC formulated her majorette team.
Her version of a majorette team. There was a lot of kerfuffle. Some people yes, do the thing. Some people are like, if you want to go to HBCU, you should have went. Then that whoever was that dumb person was talking about, well, some of us didn't go to HBCUs because it was too expensive. And we were like, but she at USC, boo. Ain't nobody more expensive. Stop it. Right. Ain't no HBCU even in that category.
Well, no, I don't like when people say, well, so having lived in California, I have heard many people say, because there are no HBCUs west of the Mississippi, well, past Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there are many people who say, those in California, they don't have that experience. Those are out here on the West Coast, they don't have that experience. And so, of course, if those of us who live in these areas aren't exposing them, I get it. My problem with the majorette dance style is, I'm like, you're not even in front of your band. Like, it wasn't like they made you a part of the organization. You're just dancing in the stands. And that's just weird to me. That's just like if I just go put on a sequins outfit and go at Southern and start dancing in the stands. Like, no, that doesn't even make sense to me. But it's also because where I get personally annoyed is if y'all are so adamant that, and I'm not saying she said this, but people in comments saying some of us didn't want to go to HBCUs. Well, then why do y'all keep trying to recreate HBCU experiences?
Right.
If you did not want to go to an HBCU, don't. But stop trying to recreate the experiences of an HBCU. It is okay that you have your experience at your school the way you have it. And I'm not saying that dance is classified as black or white, but there is a specific style of, I don't majorette or dance Black HBCU drill team, dance team, there is a certain style. And why try to copy that style? Because at the end of the day, it's, to me, it's no different that when I see these, what do they call, like, oh, we're gonna switch days, swap days, some other stuff that I don't agree with, where you have men imitating, particularly
Or
non.
that these everybody wants to step now.
Yes,
That's
everybody.
a whole nother thing.
Even
like,
even the kindergartners. I'm like, okay,
no,
it's cute.
yeah,
at
but
the-
I'm talking about even the not historically black
Right.
fraternities and sororities.
Sorority. Yeah.
I mean, y'all can't even master swag surfing, so I'ma just need all of y'all to.
Well, yeah, that's like
Come on
something that Lil Duval posted of this white sorority, and then talking about, oh, the AKAs and the Deltas have 24 hours to respond. And people like, why? Why would we respond to that? There is nothing to respond to. So sometimes, again, we have said this before, stop giving the culture away. That's my thing. Stop giving the culture away.
All right. So
Now,
stop giving the culture away. And for the culture, HBCU homecomings are coming up.
and you're welcome to come and join us at one.
See, SUBR, I got y'all right there. There's your homecoming landing page. I'm gonna go ahead and drop it in the comments so y'all can get to the Southern homecoming too. It is when, sister?
Oh, it begins, I think it begins on October 15th, technically, the week before, and then the game is on October 22nd. But you know, that Sunday, the 16th. So the 16th through the 22nd, that week of homecoming.
Okay, well, the Xavier University's homecoming is on November 2nd through the 6th. Join us down in New Orleans. Register, get your package, get your tailgate package, get your banquet, all the things, the parties, all the things. Get them all on, honey. And come on down to homecoming with us and enjoy some good old. All right, Savannah State, come through Savannah State on October 8th. Y'all drop y'all homecoming dates in here.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, every HBCU in Mississippi seem to have theirs.
No, every SWAC.
Every SWAC. Go ahead. Complain about it. Go ahead.
Girl, I don't know. Girl, I don't know who sits around and has these conversations. So why you gonna put Jackson State, Southern, Alcorn, all these schools on the same day? Some of us like to travel. We were planning to do an HBCU homecoming tour, which we're going to do. We are going to do our HBCU homecoming tour. But I can't get around to every place if y'all want to put everything on the same day.
Same day. Stop it. Right. Maximize your dollars.
Right.
Ooh, child. All right, homecoming is in effect. Y'all get ready. Homecoming season is in full effect. Well, the final thing that we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to switch it up. We'll save that must-see TV one for another week. But we want to say congratulations to our father. Dr. Obi Cleveland Hill. He is, I gave his whole full government name, didn't I? OC Hill. We are very proud and excited that Nicholls State University announced that one of the buildings, the former education building where he worked as a dean of education there, they're going to be naming a building after him. Yes, Rosalind, I dropped the entire name. I don't know what I was thinking. But we are very proud and excited. As you know, Nicholls State, or maybe you all do not know, but Nicholls State University, the name Nicholls is for the former governor of Louisiana, who was a Confederate general. Governor T. Nicholls.
Francis
T. Nicholls, yeah. But yeah. So he was the governor of the state of Louisiana at one point. So the university has been going through, in this spirit of reconciliation, has been naming many of the streets, renaming many of the streets, and they are renaming one of the buildings after our dad, and also a woman professor. So y'all, we dropped the article there in the comments, so y'all can take a look, read it. It's phenomenal. We are very happy, and thank you for the congratulations. We sincerely appreciate it. So that's how I wanted to end the show tonight, sister. What do you want to tell the people in closing?
Well, in closing, I want to say congratulations to our dad, but I also want to say happy birthday to our mother. Her birthday is going to be on Wednesday. And, you know, want to say happy birthday to her as well. And, you know, I thought about it. I was like, oh, well, we should have her on the show. But then I know she just had her surgery. So she's not picture ready yet, but hoping that she has a wonderful 71st birthday, and she is still very cute. Mm-hmm. So go ahead, mama, with your bad self, because you still cute, girl. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, someone else's birthday is coming up, Rosalind.
There's a lot of somebodies who I'm sure are having birthday. But no, it's I'm really excited to celebrate my parents and all the great things that they have going on. And yes, and someone else has a birthday coming up, but we can talk about that next week.
Yes. Well, we had in our family, our uncle just turned 87. We have an aunt who just turned...
No, he didn't. He didn't turn 87.
Oh, no, he turns 87 on Wednesday as well.
Yes,
on the 28th.
Exactly.
But we have an aunt who just turned 80.
I thought it was 79.
79? Okay. We have so a lot of September birthdays.
And then Miss Murray's birthday as well.
Yes, Miss Murray. Happy birthday, Miss Murray. My Girl Scout troop leader, our Girl Scout troop leader. Jackie had to drop in here about the BCU homecoming. So y'all go to the Daytona Beach, and she got the whole, here it is. Y'all go head on and get your tickets, get there. Yes, she did have those legs out as spring to leadership. At any rate, we appreciate y'all for tuning in to Hey Sister. Make sure you tell somebody about this show. Join us every week here on Sunday. And always catch the replay on your favorite podcasting platform or YouTube and Facebook. And with that, we're signing off tonight. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.